Hello again, chaps and chapettes. How are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, I've got to be honest with you, my friends. I'm not entirely sure how to react to the story I'm about to bring you tonight. Is it meant to be met with amusement? Is it meant to be met with sympathy? Is it meant to be met with empathy? Or is it meant to be met with disgust? Or maybe an accumulation of all four? I just simply do not know. I am completely stumped. And it is not often I am left rendered completely speechless on my channel. So, mystery over, let's get into the nooks and crannies. Basically what's been going on here is a trans man, woman, they, them, it specimen has performed a certain act on an unknowing heterosexual male, and this heterosexual male has had the other fella thrown in prison for it. Now, on the outside looking in, you've got to admit this is actually a little bit funny. But on the flip side, you put yourself in the shoes of this other poor bloke, you can quite understand his absolute dismay at the entire event. So with that being said, let's have a look at what's been going on here, shall we? The seedy goings on behind the lace curtains of suburbia, my friends. Transgender woman, fellow in a frock, jailed for a certain type of assault after concealing male bits during a certain type of act with an unwitting male. A transgender woman has been jailed for SA after concealing male bits from a man she was on a date with. Kiara Watkins spent the night with the victim, who was 18 at the time, after they exchanged messages on Snapchat. The 21-year-old performed certain acts on the man but refused to let him touch them, claiming he was on his period. That's one way of getting out of it, I suppose. The victim only discovered the truth when Watkins later told him they had a massive secret. Oh yeah, they've got a massive secret, all right. I'm not entirely sure how massive it actually was, but it was certainly a secret. My dear God. Watkins has now been jailed for 21 months after being found guilty of 2 charges of SA and 1 count of assault by Marmite Motorway. That's the best you're going to get out of me. The fiend must also stay on the sex offenders register for 10 years and is subject to a lifelong restraining order not to approach the victim. In a victim impact statement, the complaint said what happened to him had taken away some of his masculinity. See, this is where I feel empathy for the poor bastard. He was 18 years old, and we all know, us fellas, what it was like when we were 18. We would have humped almost anything if the opportunity arose. And I think that's what happened here. I like to think he was pissed up. I mean, judging by the look of this person, I mean, he must have been either pissed or high on some kind of drugs to not realise what's actually going on here. And to realise that you have been violated, I suppose you could say, by another man, yeah, it would destroy your confidence and put rather a crimp on your mental health, I should imagine. He said, I'm a heterosexual male. I wouldn't even think of doing anything with a man. This has left me feeling ashamed and embarrassed. I have been ridiculed online due to Watkins' deception. Poor guy. This is where, again, I can sympathise with the poor fella. I have been so upset over this whole thing. Teesside Crown Court heard Watkins had no gender reassignment surgery and stuffed clothing inside a bra. The defendant's Snapchat profile used a female cartoon avatar, and there had been no discussions about sexuality or gender. In a police interview played in court, the interview said all the way through she made out she was fully a girl. How did that conversation start? That must have started somewhere for him to say that. There must have been an inkling somewhere, my friends. I can't buy that he was nonchalant when all this was going on. Surely not. He told officers how the pair had been sat for a while drinking and chatting before heading to the bedroom. The man added, throughout the full time she was telling me she was on her period. It was like, as far as I was concerned, she was a female. Watkins later messaged him to admit a massive secret, and he replied if Watkins was pregnant, chance would be a fine thing. Instead, Watkins revealed, I'm trans, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. The message he messaged back, excuse me, WTF, so what, you have a male bit? He added, oh my God, I feel ill, before reporting her to the police. Asked how he felt about the disgusting truth, the victim told officers he felt like he's taken away my manhood. I'm going to stop there before I get myself demonetised. Now, I'm going to put some pictures of this fella on the screen here, my friends, and you can tell me, well, you should be able to tell anyway from the thumbnail, because I'm going to put him in there as well. You tell me, if you pulled this in a bar or a club, you wouldn't think something was a little bit iffy. I mean, you see these people on TV, movies, all sorts of places now, all over the place they are, and you can just tell that there's something not quite right with one of these people. The massive hands, the Adam's apple, the deep voice, the 5 o'clock shadow, the list is bloody endless. Even the ones who do it properly, like for example Blair White, the conservative commentator over in America, he did it properly. He actually looks like a woman, but there's still telltale signs there. You could tell with the voice and the big hands and the big feet. You can't, how can I put this? You can't do things with a man in a wig and a frock and clothes stuffed down a bra and not think something's a little bit dodgy. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, you can see the state of it. I mean, her eyebrows look like she's got one of them permanent markers and gone like that over her eyebrows. The chiseled jawline, I'm pretty sure he's got a deep voice. I don't know, I'm just not buying it. I'm glad he's been put in prison. I think that's the right thing to do, because I suppose in some ways this is a type of R-word. I mean, it's consensual, judging by what's been said in this article, but it's consensual under false pretenses. He thinks he is bedding a woman, when in actual fact he is bedding a man, and I do think that is just a little bit R-wordy. I could be wrong, you let me know in the comments. But on the flip side, my friends, I am absolutely astonished that this man hasn't been vilified and ridiculed by the trans community and all the bonkers leftists for being a transphobe, for feeling ill and not wanting to do things with a trans man or trans woman, they, them, whatever you want to call him. He's actually got his way. This person has been put in prison, and I find that in itself more shocking than what actually happened to him. So yeah, I do feel sorry for this guy. He's probably going through a lot of mental distress at this present moment in time. All his mates taking piss out of him and that kind of a thing. So yeah, he does have my sympathy there. But there is a lesson to be learned here, my friends. In future, don't get too pissed, and make sure what you think you are pulling is what you are pulling. Otherwise, this could quite easily happen again, particularly if you come across one that actually does it right. Let me know what you think in the comments, my friends. How would you react if this happened to you? I'm pretty sure you would go down the same route as me, as if some man was trying to SA you. What would you do? You'd probably lamp the person, wouldn't you? And I think, yeah, we'd all go down the same route. I think even a woman would go down the same route if that happened to her as well. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, my friends. Carpe diem. Do enjoy your weekends, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.